Hey guys, this is my brand new setup, plant styled, my bookcase in my plant space. There's a ton going on with it. I can't wait to share with you which plants I put in there, the living sphagnum moss wall that I've created, plus so much more. Let's rewind the tape. With hundreds of plants, I don't know what I was thinking when I decided it was a good idea to make over my entire plant space. Now, I guess part of it came from repotting so many plants in new, beautiful containers. I did a whole series on repotting various houseplants that I have. And I guess after that, it was just time for a change, so I redid that. But in this video, I'm going to be sharing this incredible, crazy transformation of the hutch or the bookcase that I have in my plant space. Before and after, I'm going to be explaining what I did, why I did it, and most importantly, how I was able to accomplish this amazing transformation. So for all that and a lot more, stay tuned. Alright guys, so this is the bookcase that I'm going to be plant styling today. Alright guys, so this is the shelving unit that I am referring to. It's completely being cleared of all plants and anything else that I previously had on it. Now this thing is pretty big. I'm about 6 feet tall, and as you can see, it's quite a bit taller. I think it's around at least 8 feet tall. So it's really big as it stands right now. I kind of have 4 different areas. I have this bottom area, this midsection, and then 2 areas on top, or 2 more shelves on top. And this is already in kind of the shape and size and formatting that I wanted in. I have the shelves in the right place, is what I mean by that. So I'm gonna create these 4 different areas on the shelving unit. It's going to be amazing. So I want to break down each of the components and each of the different areas and zones on the shelving unit that I'm doing for my houseplants. All right, so let's start with this bottom section. As you can see, there's a plug, which will be perfect for a humidifier. Now I did leave a lot of space kind of on this bottom section, and that's for a reason. I want to put some of my monsteras that I propagated in this area, really close to the humidifier, create a really sort of nice, lush, full, sort of visually appealing, stylized monstera space in this bottom section. So let me go and do that. And all right guys, so this really is the perfect place for my Monstera Props. Now, as you can see, I have 2. I've kept them actually in some nursery containers because they're only going to be able to stay here for, so many months basically until they outgrow this space. But the cool thing is I can continue to take new cuttings from my huge Monstera plant and continue to replenish this space over time. It really fills out this space. As you can see, I do have a humidifier in here, which is great. And in terms of lighting, even this lower shelf does get a lot of bright indirect light, including some direct morning sunlight. So I think this is a great start to this new look and plant styling this entire new bookcase. All right guys, so huge plans for this top shelf. Yeah, let's, without further ado, get to it. All right guys, so I went big and bold on the top here by repotting and planting my Rickrack cactus. Now, a couple of tips. If you are repotting a Rickrack, be sure to use gloves because they are more prickly than they look. And the other tip I want to share is below this terracotta pot, I have a little bit of a plastic saucer, which is great because if it stays up there when it's being watered, that will just stop any water from draining onto the wooden shelf, as well as it kind of makes it a little bit easier to kind of move around up there. So if it needs to be centered or moved any which way, then it just makes it so much easier. So some great tips there. But as far as styling this top, I want it to be really dramatic. I think this huge giant Rickrack cactus cactus does the trick, and I think it looks great up there on its own. So guys, I think I'm most excited for this middle section because I've made a living wall kind of insert thing that I'm going to be placing in here, and I'm going to be sharing some tips on how to do it yourself. This was total DIY project, and it's just gonna look really cool. I have some awesome ideas for what plants to be growing and vining up this sort of living wall. And yeah, so guys, I made this sphagnum moss frame myself so that I could put specific plants in here that I had really, very specific intentions, and I wanted them to kind of vine up and grow up this sort of living wall, if you will. Now, this DIY project is very simple, and it only includes a couple of steps. So the first thing is I cut to size a piece of plywood, and then I created this wooden border, and that kind of just created a space in which the sphagnum moss could kind of sit. So I kind of wet that down, placed it in, and then over top just used a really sort of fine green mesh, like a plastic mesh or some sort of like fishing and bird netting, and stapled that in over the sphagnum moss so that it stays in place, and then just kind of wrapped it around the wood border. So it's a super simple kind of DIY project that you can do to create a really cool kind of space for your plants to grow up. And let's take a look at what it looks like when it all comes together. Like I said, I have this beautiful sort of framed sphagnum moss living wall, if you will. Now, I've flanked it with a philodendron and a ZZ, but really what steals the show are these two rhaphidophora hayi, which look absolutely stunning growing up this sphagnum moss wall. Couldn't be happier with how this has turned out. Thanks for checking out this video. I'm Tyler, and if you like what you're seeing or you found this video to be useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, or better yet, you can hit that subscribe button to really show me some love. Click on the bell for alerts and notifications for future content, and don't forget to check out my merch store, tylermossop.com. All right, so we are approaching the end. This was the last shelf, and I went ahead and added some lemon lime pothos, this beautiful crystal that we'll have to get a close-up of, as well as my pickle plant. So I think this is really starting to give this whole space a lot of dimension. It's nice to have something that's not a plant on this shelf. Really adds a lot of like sparkle and texture, which is great, but this isn't quite complete. I have a couple more tricks up my sleeve. So let me get to that and show you guys what it all is I have in mind. All right guys, so it's finally all come together. I was able to add some really important final touches. Now, I'm not sure if you can tell, but I'm going to give a whole bunch of close-up shots right after this, but right before that, I do want to share that I added my philodendron brandy and micans. Now I have those vining up each of the sides, which looks amazing. I've also flanked the entire sort of bookcase with my stromanthe tricolor or tristar, and my giant ZZ plant, which looks absolutely fantastic. So it's really come together. I'm loving the way this all looks. Let's take a closer look at what it's all come down to.
Wake up and smell the roses. Try hard not to lose focus. There's too much to do. Reap what you sow, you know this. Blessings come and go, but either way, there's too much to lose. Why do you second guess yourself? Don't place your dreams upon a shelf. Don't be so sleep on yourself. Dear insomniac, please check your health. Wake up, smell the roses, wake up. test your reality.
Well, that's it for me. Oh yeah, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, or leave a comment down below. Miss you guys already. Until the next one.